Now I use Redux-Thunk in React.js. So first I cut a branch from existing one, and the command is git checkout -p implement Redux-Thunk Redux.js. This is the branch name. Here you can see this is the branch, and in package.json file you see Redux. For Redux-Thunk you can install npm install Redux-Thunk. Now Redux-Thunk is installing your React.js 2.4.2. Now start my server. And first I use Redux. There is many code change here, so I will first comment all the other component and only show for login component. Step by step I change the code, so you can easily distinguish between the previous and the new one. What is the difference? But before that I also change context and make a two folder, auth and user details. And in auth all the registration related like sign up, login and logout, all the code is written in auth context, and related to user detail like get the details of the user and update and delete the account. This context is written in user details. So these three files, action type, auth action and auth reducer, make a folder in make a file in auth folder, and similarly in user detail. And I write all the actions like related to registration, login and logout. So I make this videos as a fast forward. This is related to registration, login and logout, and last one is reset message. Similarly for user detail like set detail, update and delete. Now in auth action, this is the you can say this is the patterns which you follow when you working with Redux. So if you when you use Saga or Toolkit, the similar patterns is also used there. So for auth action I make a function, and first I take an argument as a payload, and then this function return another function which I take as async, because I working with the asynchronous event like fetching and getting, updating, deleting data. And first I check if I receive the payload. In payload I receive username, email and the password, and here I also validate if these all these inputs are empty, then simply I return error or dispatch the error. So first I call user registration failure from action type. This action type is coming from auth folder, and loading is false. I also display loading functionality that in every component or every action you done, before that a loader is displayed to user. So this makes UI more attractive. And then simply return. If the registration failure, then simply return. And second one is this dispatches request. In Redux mainly three process internally follow three process, like first fetching the request. After all the fulfillment criteria is done, then second process is dispatching success, and if success is not dispatched and any error is occurred, then it throws to the failure. Now for I copy the previous code, like first check is that email, already present or not. So this email is also come from payload, and there is no need of set error. And copy this registration failure, because if exists then I return some error message to the user. And here I pass the message, user already registered with this email. And now else part, and here I also return, because after that no code is executed. And for post I pass all the information, and all the details are coming from data, and form data is get from payload. And if the response status is 201, then means registration is success. In that case, pass the action type user registration success. And here loading is also false, message is success, and pass whatever message which you want. Here I pass, write a message, user registration successful. I first do some code refactoring. Okay, else if 201 not, means other than 201, in that case something wrong. And that scenarios I pass message user registration failed. And if in failure I also return on that part. And at last for empty the form data, first I check payload.form, because if you don't put this condition, then in some scenarios form ref initially the form ref is null, so it occurs some error. So to prevent this error you can use this condition. And here I write the comment what this function actually do, and this action is related to your user registration. So action for user registration. And then after write reducer, because this action is then code to the reducer in Redux. So first I get the information from local storage. Which I saved like current user ID or is logged in. Then I define the initial state of the reducer. First loading is false, is logged in. I check if saved user has true value, then simply get the is logged in value, otherwise is logged in value have some boolean value like false. And second for current user ID, same condition I write. And message type, initially I take a empty string, and similarly to message. And then export the reducer, make a constant variable auth reducer, then state is equal to initial state, and then action second argument. And here I check the condition like message type, but the first action is like request, then success, then failure. First case for registration, similarly in, and that after I write for login then logout. So first user registration request, in that case I simply return the previous state like loading is logged in, current user ID, message type, whatever the values have, and the loading is true. Second for the success, user registration success, and here in reducer I get many things like loading, and for I get message type and the message like success or user registration successful. Apart from this, now I pass to user registration failure. In failure, you can get the value from action.payload or action means you get the value from action, otherwise you simply write the false value. And if none of the case happen, then I take a new default and here I simply return the state. Second case for login. And login, I write login user action. This is related to login user action, and here again first I check email and the password field. So for that I check the value from the payload which I receive, email and password, and for here action type is related to user login failure, because this type is checked in reducer. Whatever type you write here, this type is checked in your reducer. So main focus here that your action type is be clear on the specific one. And the second case, if email and password have some value, then that case success, but before that initially passing the request, and that case loading is true. And after I also check if the email, the user type is right or wrong, means is saved in database or not. So that case again I check the length of the response. If the less than or equal to 0, then means email is not present, then pass this message and simply return. And after case for password, then first password is also come from database and your payload, so compare both the values, and if not equal means password is not matching with the with your email, in that case simply throw the message or return the message. And after that for else condition, write the post not simply match, then yes, or thing is good, then simply you can redirect. So I remove all the code here, there is no need of this code. And email and password is match, then simply pass the success request or success action type. And again loading is false, and here you pass the credential like is logged in true, which you saved in local storage on the current user ID. Current user ID is your user logged ID get from the response. And again message is success, and here user login successful. And after that I want to navigate the user to the dashboard, so navigate function I receive from the payload. You can also get the navigate from the React router, but if you want to receive from your payload, then you can simply pass when your login functionality implement. So this is all related to your registration, and after that I write in reducer for login. So this case is for login user. Again write your user login request success, not this is request. Okay, and here write user login success, and in success I pass, first I save the information is logged in and the current user ID. So if I want any information related to the user, then simply I can get from that, and this information is also helpful for validating or preventing the URL. So I pass is logged in and the current user ID. And same thing is passed in your Redux Store or reducer. So simply if you passing this reducer, so you can easily get from the store. And for failure, login failure, if anything is happening, in that case I pass the previous state and the loading false. Okay, and here store, here I write a create a store, but you can, this create a store is deprecated in Redux, so you can write legacy create a store in the previous video which I use create legacy, so create store. So and here I make another constant variable, and I write all the reducer here in the key value pair. So if you get the store from the key in any component, and I simply export the store. You can also export as a default, but I simply export this type. So in app.js, now this import is in braces here because this is not a default store. And there is no need of this error message in login component. Now your component code is component code is no need to write more code here. I get the message type from the auth user from here reduce store, and I remove this comment, and for dispatch this is same, and now there is no need of this because now importing from another like store, there is no need of this also. Now your login user function is small, and here simply you pass the dispatch email and the password and navigate. So after login you simply navigate to the dashboard. And I also write for use effect, and this use effect is related to your message, clear message, but I think I not write the reducer or action type, so simply I remove. First I change the message because I received the message from the store, Redux Store. Now all the codes remain same. Here user reducer is not defined in store. Okay, in middleware, so here I use pass the first argument as root reducer and apply middleware from Thunk. Now here you use the Thunk middleware. Now your code, your error is gone from the login page.